All right, let's make this live stream work today. Running out of time. Lots to do, running out of time, and the stats are out. Hopefully I have no echo this time. Let me know if I have an echo this time. It is official. It's official. This is now slow. This is as slow as it gets. This market is slow. I don't know how that's going to be affected here with what's going on with the stock market right now. Absolute collapse, otherwise known as a good buying opportunity. But it is official. The statistics are out from the Fraser Valley board, and I don't have time to do a video about them, and I know you likely want to know what's going on out there right now. So as a result of that, I think I'm going to review them. I think I'm going to review them here with you live, and I'm getting a streaming error message. So hopefully you're seeing this. We will find out here as we go. So let's pop into my screen. Can I figure out how to do it? Here we go. These stats are out. Fraser Valley Real Estate Board. This is all publicly available every single month. You can check it out yourself. I'm going to check and make sure that I'm not echoing here again. March home sales in the Fraser Valley remained nearly 50% below the 10-year average, making it the slowest start in more than 15 years. What does that mean in English? Well, that means this is the slowest start in real estate since the great financial crisis, and that is including COVID times. Now, that's obvious, I guess, because COVID times actually wasn't that slow. It was slow for April and May only, and then things took off again. So let's go through the numbers here and take a look. I'm doing this with you live for the first time. I have not looked at these statistics yet because they are just out yesterday or 2 days ago, and I was in a course yesterday. So let's see if I can make that look pretty. Okay, so the total Fraser Valley sales this March were 1,036. Last year was almost 1,400. That's 25% fewer sales this time or this March than last March. It thankfully is up from February, but if you had a March that is slower than a February, Lord knows what would happen. We're 12% higher, which is nothing. We should be a lot higher, and we are not. However, we are higher in listings. Lots of listings are on the market now. I believe I looked yesterday. I might look today here, but I believe we're at almost 8,400 active listings on the market. That's not a crazy amount, particularly with the amount of population that's out there, but it's not great. It's not healthy and balanced. It's very much in favor of the buyers. And I will talk about buyers here shortly because buyers are starting to come out of the woodwork, but maybe not the type you think. We were at 3,000 last month, 3,800 this last month, last year to this last month. So that's an increase of 27%. So this is the big factor. This is how you can project where the market's going. You can project where the market's going by way fewer sales and way more listings means the market's going to continue to slow down. There's just no getting around that. Now, this number, 9,200 or whatever that is right here, that is including all of the listings. And then the number that I report on that's like closer to 8,400 is the combined residential. So this takes out, vacant lots. This is going to take out a lot of commercial. It's going to take, I guess vacant lots might be in there. It's going to take out rental units on the MLS, that sort of thing. Sneaky Pete is here again. Thank you, Sneaky Pete. I appreciate the commenting. Always commenting. Great channel if you're into vaporizers, which I am not, but who knows? Maybe I should try. Let's go back to a year ago. So we were at 6,100. That was a very healthy marketplace. If anything, it was maybe slightly undersupplied, but it was very healthy for March. You can see that we're up, like active listings on the market. The inventory on the market right now compared to last year is up 50%. There is 50% more houses available. So, I mean, it's going to be what it's going to be. There's no avoiding that. It is also up another 14%. And check out average price. Average price. Now, there was a big snafu in the real estate system apparently for the last 2 months, and that is there was a problem from, I believe, Korea to, I think it's Black Knight, who does a lot of the analysis and putting together the numbers. There was a problem gathering information, and apparently for the last 2 months, a lot of the numbers have been incorrect. Now they have been adjusted. I looked at how far off they were. They weren't off by that far, but they were adjusted. So it's nice to know those people out there are doing their jobs. Year over year, we're down 2% on average price. Now, this is all property types. This is all areas from North Delta all the way out to Mission. So this is everything. Doesn't really tell you exactly what's going on. But look at this. We are up from last month, or from February. So we saw an increase. This is the new trend that I'm seeing. And I don't know if this is going to happen every single year. I did see for the longest time, people were like, oh, it's best to sell in June because that's when the market's the best. It's sure it was the busiest and there were the most amount of sales, most amount to pick from if you're a buyer. But it never actually produced like necessarily higher numbers. For the last 3 years in a row, it appears like if you are just selling and not buying back into the market, you should just sell in April, May, June, and then you will actually see the highest prices of the year. Not a normal trend, but it is a trend now, I guess. After 3 years, maybe it'll continue to be a trend. Grand totals. So we're only at about 2,700, almost 2,800 sales for the year so far. So the overall year to date is down 22% compared to just last year. And obviously listings are reflective of that. I mean, we're down 25% and we're up. We got 25% more available. So that's going to continue. Let's look at actual detached pricing now. So this is all of the areas combined. And I'm going to focus here on benchmark pricing. Benchmark pricing is down across the entire board area. It's actually up year over year in average. That's why I don't pay attention to average, because I don't think that's only going to show you a moment in time. It's benchmark is much more streamlined. Townhouses across the entire marketplace are also down, but up from last month. You're going to notice this trend. And then down from last year in condos as well. I'm not seeing anything here that really sticks out. You know, active listings, of course, they're up 50%, as we said. 72%. 70. There should have been my clickbait for this video. Townhouses, active listings on the marketplace up 72%. That's kind of crazy. If you want me to stop over Abbotsford, great. Mission, sure. Not a lot of our buyers are buying in Abbotsford and Mission right now. Similar trend. Detached down year over year, up month over month. If I see anything here, so condos are down month over month in Abbotsford. I mean, it's the same story across the entire further valley, I guess, at this point in time. Up a little bit year over year in Mission. Up a little bit year over year in townhouses in Mission. Flat in condos. But let's get into the meat and potatoes. This is South Surrey White Rock. Langley. Ooh, Langley, what are you doing? Langley's always fun. South Surrey generally, I'm skipping around a lot here. I apologize. If you have questions, let me know. I will stop and go to your section that you want to look at. Detached homes in South Surrey White Rock are definitely down. We are seeing that. It feels like there's just a ton of inventory. That kind of mid-90s typical South Surrey, what used to be a luxurious, wonderful home that's actually small by today's standards, is down quite a bit. Are you able to compare home sales sneaky from 25 to 23 instead of 24? I can, and I'll have to do it right after I look at these numbers because I can do it in a graph area that's a lot more interactive, which is actually this page right here, and I'll show it to you in a bit. Okay, Langley again up. Ooh, Langley's up year over year. Okay, so that's not bad. We are seeing that. We're seeing a big trend out towards Langley. Look at this average price increase. This just shows me that like large properties in Langley are selling for a lot. And trust me, I went out and viewed those properties myself just through open houses 2 weeks ago. It was crazy. It was very, very busy out there. Condos hurting in Langley a little bit. 83% increase in townhouses out in Langley. North Delta, very small sample set, so kind of not a big deal, but down in average price even year over year. Interesting. Down month over month as well. So North Delta not doing so great. These numbers in North Delta, just so you know, in apartments and townhouses don't really mean a lot just because there's so, like, look, there's 6 sales and like 15 new listings. So there's basically, I mean, that's a neighborhood in Cloverdale, right? So I wouldn't pay too much attention to those numbers, especially these big swings, like minus 10% in townhouses. That just means a big townhouse sold last year at this time, and then a smaller one sold this year. All right, city. So this is the Surrey report. That's what we normally do here on the channel. This is the numbers that we report on there. So detached sales are down 38% year over year. They are down as well in benchmark pricing by 1%. Not really a massive amount. I mean, I know this is $20,000 down, but on the overall scheme of things, not really a big shift in the marketplace. It's just the number of sales that aren't happening that's probably the biggest, craziest thing out there. Townhouses down 2% and then up again. So it's down year over year, up month over month, proving that this kind of seasonal pricing is definitely becoming a thing. And then the hardest hit area I think right now that I'm seeing is definitely apartments, condos, particularly in Wally. Oh, because we're doing this live, I can go right down to North Surrey and shift over to apartments. Look at this. You're seeing median price down 11% year over year. This is like what we are actually seeing. We are seeing areas in North Surrey and Wally, they're getting beat up. And I was going to talk about going back to buyers. I'm seeing a trend right now, and often when a realtor says, I'm seeing a trend, it's like, this is my last client that I just spoke to. But this is actually more than one client that I've last spoke to. But many of our buyers right now already own investment property somewhere else. And they've either been renting or they were young folks living at home. And they are now buying principal residences for themselves because they're seeing the volatility in the marketplace. And they're going, wait, I can get that for 10 or 15% less than maybe even last year. I'll jump in. Be careful, though, if you're jumping into an area like North Surrey or Wally. When you go to sell, if the market's tough, you're going to experience this same thing. Like, look at this. So this is active listings on the marketplace. In North Surrey, there is currently 823 active listings if you are a seller. So if you're a buyer, that's a great thing. You've got lots to pick from, and you get to go crazy and offer on what you want to offer on and only pick the best of the best or the best price of the best. And yeah, it's a tough market to sell in when things change like this. That's why I personally do not invest in Wally, and I invest in other pickier areas, if you want to call it that. I'm going to keep going through the statistics package. So just so you can kind of read this graph and understand what's going on, the big blue in the back here is active listings on the market at any one period of time. The white kind of speckled bit back here is new listings coming to the market, and then the dark blue is sales within that month. So you're starting to see just this inventory level here where we're creeping into, well, we're not quite after the financial crisis numbers yet, but I don't think that we will probably avoid this. We will likely go, I don't think we're going to get up above 12,000 unless this stock market thing that happened yesterday and today really starts affecting everything. But I can see us back here at the 10,000 rate by the summer this year. And then it's all, what's the absorption rate after that? It's a lot to pick from, lots of opportunities out there for buyers. Consumption rate remains at 11%. That is firmly in a buyer's market across the whole area. But let me preface this. For instance, detached homes in Surrey between $1 million and 1.3 are on fire. We had 5 offers on the one we brought on last week. So if you're in this particular area and type of home, for instance, if you own an acre in Langley and you price it near $3 million, it's fire. It's just going to go. It's kind of crazy, actually. If the house is nice. There's a lot of old crap out there, too. And then let's look at, so this is a cool little graph that I look at every single month just to see where the trend line is going. So this is detached on top, townhouses and condos, all slightly starting to trend up. But I think what's really why I focus so heavily on this every single month, this is actually when I log in and I see the stats package released, I actually scroll down immediately and look at this first just to see where the trends are going. I mean, this is pretty flat overall. So you are seeing pricing of most products in most areas remaining stable. And I think that's actually a good thing because buyers want some sort of certainty, and this is supplying them with that. Let me go back to the comments here. What areas or cities does most of your buyers look at? Most of my buyers we do probably 40 or 50% of our business within the city of Surrey. We do, then it's kind of scaled out. Since the YouTube folks reach out more often, we spend way more time in Tri-Cities, Burnaby. We dabble into Vancouver. But a lot of people, I was just actually having this conversation with somebody yesterday. They're like, should I have an area specialist? Area specialist is the biggest BS there is as far as marketing goes for real estate agents. It's a provincial mandate. It's provincial law. So area specialist is not really as big a deal as everybody thinks, because what happens when you start working as a realtor, you're probably not like, I want to live in Wally, or I want to live in Fraser Heights, or I want to live in, I mean, even more narrower than that. If I'm in Vancouver, do I want to live in Marpole? Like, you'll look in anywhere in East Van or anywhere in South Van or whatever the thing is, right? So when I'm working with a buyer, they'll be like, okay, I want to check out Coquitlam, Wally, Guildford, Poco, right? So that kind of area. And then they'll realize, oh, Coquitlam's too expensive, Poco's too crappy, Wally, maybe if I need the train, they end up in Guildford because Guildford's probably the nicest of those areas, right? So whatever it is, like they'll narrow down after a little while. This is actually a fun little chart that I never cover here on the channel. So when they started benchmark pricing, they basically put everything at 100%, let's call it. It's the index. So townhouses, everybody weighted equally, and then you'll see which one technically outperforms the other one. Condos are actually the best, in a way. You could actually say that condos increased more percentage-wise than anybody else did, and townhouses did the worst. But I guess that's if you bought in at that certain time. Average detached home pricing is really just flattening out. And that's what I want to cover. So Sneaky Pete asked to look at prices compared to 23. So I'm going to look in now Stats Center. This is all attached and detached prices. And let's go HPI. So right now, across the board, March 2025, HPI across the entire valley is 974. 2 Marches ago, 959. So we're still technically up. And I think that's what we're going to continue to see. We're going to see this kind of flattening, right? Let's go back to the chat. Some new buildings in Wally have like 40 units for sale. Sneaky, are you in Wally? They do. So think about this. That's actually not crazy. So if you have a new building put up and there's 400 units in it, it is not crazy to have 10% of the units on the market at any given time. For instance, if I live on a street and there's 10 houses on this side of the street and 10 houses on that side of the street, it would not be crazy for 2 of those places to be on the market at any given time. So that's actually not crazy. I don't judge. Wally's great for a lot of folks. I particularly really like the hub buildings. The only trouble I've had with Wally recently is a lot of the new builds are having really bad insurance problems. So if it was me, I would end up elsewhere. If I was connected to the train for my life, I would probably live in Wally, as high up as possible. Can you provide insight on Abbotsford, Chilliwack, and Mission? I can provide insight on Abbotsford, Chilliwack, and Mission. However, the Chilliwack is actually a different board, and they do not report their numbers nearly as well as the Fraser Valley board does. Let's even see if they even have numbers here. Chilliwack, do they even give me all of Chilliwack? See, Chilliwack doesn't even have HPI, right? That's how much of a pain in the butt they are. They do have average price, but average price, as you can see, is really kind of crappy. So is median price. So let's go back to HPI, and that's why Chilliwack stinks. Just kidding. I just sold a house in Chilliwack yesterday. Great people. I'm just saying their real estate board kind of sucks. Let's zoom out here a little bit. So again, you're seeing that same thing. You're seeing that kind of flattening across the board in most areas. Nothing crazy to report there. Active listings on the market, obviously ticking up in those areas as well. Chilliwack actually doing pretty good as far as active listings go overall. I will say the Chilliwack area between, so you can get a detached house for like, let's call it $799 up to whatever you want to spend, but that 800 to 1.1 is very busy right now. Crazy busy. Let's go back out here for Sneaky Pete, just to look at pricing kind of overall. Other times that we have been in the Fraser Valley at similar price points to now. So this is going to be detached homes, 1.5 right now. When were we 1.5 last? Last September. The last February. The October before that. Right there. We kind of missed it in the May before that. We are similar pricing right now to August 22 after the crash, and we are similar pricing to November or December 21 in the craziness. So this is pretty typical. After you see a big up like that, everybody wants this to come right back down. It never does. It will just come down a percentage and then kind of waver until we get that next big takeoff. Let me know if you think that next big takeoff's coming, because I can see it in the future. The question is, how far in the future? So that's the story. The story right now in the marketplace is we are down year over year in most places. We're doing better than we were last month. I guess a month ago, 30 days ago. But we're generally not, I mean, it's very slow. And the news of yesterday and today will likely ripple out into this. I mean, there's people that are getting, their investments are just getting absolutely destroyed right now. And that's inevitably going to have some effect on the marketplace. The question is how long. I heard some kind of promising stuff about, a bunch of countries trying to come around and adjust their tariffs. So maybe they have less tariffs put on them by the states, and see how that whole thing's going to happen. I'm very interested to see what happens with the election here. I think an idea that I've just been way too lazy to actually research is I wanted to look back historically at our last 20 years of elections to see how the market does around election time. Generally, the rule of thumb is it's pretty slow. People are always worried about what's going to happen. And I'll go back here. So what would you say about developers looking to lease their units either to businesses or tenants? Are they looking desperately to lease them with a lot of flex? Developers leasing? What would they lease? They're going to sell. Everything here is condos. What I will tell you what I have seen, though. There's a few projects from good builders in Surrey where they are fire sailing their last units. Like, they want out. And that's could happen. That might happen once in a while when you have 2 or 3 units left over after a long project. They might go, okay, just dump these last ones. But I'm seeing some crazy numbers for people that went into the sales center and bought direct from the developer. And I'm assuming the developer is not only once done with the project, but they also are going, okay, it's time to dump and just cut my losses because I don't see it coming back within the next 2 or 3 years, right? Rennie is kind of going out there right now saying that he expects consumption not to be back for another 15 to 16 months from now. So going to be a fantastic deals for 2020 to 2022 sellers. Okay. I mean, I think a lot of people that sold and bought at the peak are actually still doing well when you look at their overall which is kind of crazy to say. What neighborhoods have you seen young families buy into in Surrey or Langley? Generally, your young families in Surrey or Langley are going to be anywhere in Cloverdale, Clayton, South Surrey if they can afford it, and then Willoughby. I mean, Willoughby and Clayton might as well be the exact same thing, but that's where everybody's at. If you want good schools in Langley, you're going to head up to Walnut Grove, but everything's going to be older. The development in Brookswood is crazy. Brookswood is going to be unrecognizable soon. So there's something to think about there. So maybe I'll give 2 more seconds if anybody's got some questions down there. I will get to a couple more questions, and then I got to go because I got appointments to go on. We are thankfully picking up in the marketplace here. We are seeing buyers come back to the market because they're looking at this going, I can take advantage of now much lower interest rates. I think rates dropped again. I locked in my mortgage Friday, so of course rates went down Monday. But we're seeing lots of people now locking into very good high 3, 5-year fix. They're taking advantage of knowing that they have 40 or 50 units to pick from now, as opposed to, missing out on 4 every weekend before. So there's people saying that, yes, I'm going to take advantage of this. And the majority of those people already own real estate. That being said, most of our buyers this year so far have been first-time buyers. So first-time buyers, I know they try and tell you, it's going to be so expensive. No, first-time buyers, young people with good jobs now, say 30 years old, you can buy an apartment. You can make it happen. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it. Good job, good savings, lots of good credit. Can you provide insight on how you would proceed as an investor in this market? Please speak on all 3 property types. If you want to buy a piece of crap in detached right now, you can definitely do it. But that below 1.3 level is very busy. It's basically a verge of, are we lot value or are we a good house? I don't think you're going to get a ton of movement. Townhouses, I'm considering townhouses myself right now for my next investment. I would probably look at a 3-bedroom unit, maybe a 2-bedroom unit, because there's lots and lots to pick from. If I was a townhouse buyer right now, I would isolate end units, because if you can pick something like that has extra parking, that has an extra windows, end unit, only one neighbor on one side, like some premium stuff, don't buy the one on the busy street. If you want to buy some really good units, quiet in the complex, that sort of thing, those are the ones you want to pick up right now. And then condos, if you are, as an investor, only looking to, let's say you just want to make somebody hurt, there's people hurting. You just got to do a lot of work to find out who those people are. And there's not as many people hurting as you think. There's not many people that want to dump as you think. Speaking with somebody not long ago, the buyers that are, like, when I say lowball, you can lowball something and you can pick it up for a lot less than the last guy just paid. When people hear lowball, they think, the place is listed for $750, I'll offer $350. Like, get serious, guys. Like, it's not going to happen. If it was $350, if I found a listing that I could get for half off of what real value is, I wouldn't tell any of you here. I would just go buy it myself and then resell it. It doesn't happen. It's not going to happen. Is Brookswood potentially an area for investment as in apartments and townhomes? There will be new builds in there. I don't know how good it's going to be. The acreages and everything down there are all way overvalued now. Well, not overvalued, but high value. So you're late to the party if you want to get in that level. But I don't know that I would. Maybe a townhome, but they're all too new. I would go buy something 4, 5, 6 years old in condos and townhouses. Get something that I already know how good the strata is. There's no problems with the developer. And I probably would not look in that area. I would definitely look in other areas than Brookswood for investment. Just not really my thing. I know a lot of folks have moved into Brookswood. I think it's going to It's going to change so dramatically that people are not going to understand how much Brookswood has changed. Particularly the new plan, like around Reeves Lake and all that stuff. Like, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. It's already crazy, but it's only going to get crazier. There you go. That is our live Surrey report. Again, I'm going to recap it for you in case you're here late. Prices are generally down year over year and generally up month over month. And sales have, let's call it, fallen off the cliff. If you are a buyer right now, this is the market you want. You want to take advantage of it because you are gold, as opposed to the previous, excluding the last year and a half, the previous decade to that, the sellers were the gold. If you had a listing, you were the man. Now, if you're the buyer, the world is your oyster. So get out there, enjoy it, and don't look at your stock portfolio today. It's not going to go well. Subscribe to the channel, click the like button, book a call if you need me. Thank you so much.